Furfrou. This freaking dog. It feels like such a nothing Pokemon. And yet, it has 10 forms, so I had to get all 10 of these sitting cuties. Ay, these dogs too much for my liking. Worst of all the different forms or trims are entirely aesthetic. It changes nothing. And yet, that's what makes it cool, I guess. It's very fitting of the Kalos region. Beauty and fashion was a big theme of Pokemon X and Y. Not only was it the first time we could customize our player characters, but also the region of Kalos is based on France, which is very fashion and beauty focused itself. And of course, that's also exactly where the poodle breed itself comes from. Oh wait, that's not actually true? Huh. But like, it's a poodle. That's like Paris the dog. Like, poodles are easily the lamest dog breed aside from the ones that have inherent breathing problems. Fun fact, did you know pugs sometimes sneeze their eyeballs out? This problem is becoming more common with more and more breeding. Poodles suck, just like France. And yet, poodles are actually German? No, wait, that kind of tracks. Poodles came out in 17th century Germany as a breed of water dog, which are dogs bred to retrieve hunted game from the water, like ducks and stuff. The name poodle even comes from puddle in German, meaning splash in water. But compared to other water dogs, poodles had one extra specialty: their particularly thick and curly coats. Just poof central, and you can clip and trim that hair, not fur technically, into all sorts of shapes, which, along with their above average doggy intelligence, makes them the perfect water hunting dog. But how does them being able to trim their fur into ridiculous shapes and colors help them with hunting? Well, for one, fur or hair of any sort isn't exactly the most hydrodynamic on its own, and it's also difficult to keep clean, especially when wet, so hunters would shave their poodles to help with hydrodynamics and cleanliness, especially their faces. Interestingly, the hydrodynamics of trimmed poodles is almost referenced in Furfrou's dex entries. Trimming its fluffy fur not only makes it more elegant, but also increases the swiftness of its movements. So, aerodynamics technically, but still. Plus, no one really wants to handle a dog that's got blood and viscera stuck to its face fur after it's brought your kill to you. So they trim the face, and most of the torso, but they leave the fur untrimmed, or at least longer trimmed, on the joints usually, because joints are fragile and easy to hurt, so having that extra bit of fluff goes at least a small way towards cushioning and protecting the joints. This is likely showcased in Furfrou's ability Fur Coat, which halves physical damage. Hunters also didn't trim their chests, shoulders, or non-face parts of the head to aid in buoyancy while swimming, because curly hairs like this hold a lot of extra air compared to the straighter fur of other dogs. But it was this inherent trim ability and heightened intelligence that made the German poodle the dog breed of choice for French circuses in the late 18 and early 1900s. So even the French knew these dogs were clowns. They dyed and cut the fur in all sorts of wackadoodle designs, and their popularity as show dogs there, showcasing many fashionable and silly cuts, made them popular all throughout France, leading eventually to the association of France equals poodle. Honestly, you couldn't make a France region and not include a poodle Pokemon. Just like how I couldn't not include this video's sponsor. So get this, I had the flu, I was bedridden. It turned into an ER-worthy respiratory infection. But thankfully, through all of this, you know, I needed rest. And this cat, like my mattress, is simply the best. Investing in your sleep is investing in your overall quality of life, and there's no better time to do that than now. Aside from the past, I suppose. And Helix makes ordering mattresses online easy thanks to their online sleep quiz that matches you and a partner with the perfect mattress. When my wife and I took it 7 years ago, we were matched with the Helix Midnight Lux with a medium feel and soft cooling cover, which helps dissipate heat away from pooling beneath us. Which is absolutely my favorite feature, because we're both kinda molten sleepers. With free shipping in the US, it arrives rolled up in a box, so setup is easy. And even after it's set up, they offer a 100-night sleep trial to make sure you love it. And with a 10-year warranty, you'll keep loving it for sure. Even our cat Sasha loves it. She sleeps between my legs. Helix offers flexible payment plans, and there's a big sale going on right now. Through the rest of the month, there's the President's Day sale, where they're offering my followers an exclusive partner offer of 27% off your mattress. All you need to do is click the link at the top of this video's description or go to helixsleep.com/Lockstin. So upgrade your sleep to upgrade your life this year. And big thanks to Helix for the continued support of this channel. So, Furfrou. It is a normal type Pokemon with no particular use in the competitive game. Looking into Furfrou is how I found out Smogon has a ZU tier. 0 use. The lowest of the low. Like, unless you are making a terrible team on purpose, or a meme team, don't even look at this dog. It's like even Game Freak doesn't want you looking at it for long. So, you can take your all natural Furfrou to a Pokemon groomer and give it a nice trim for 500 Pokédollars. And then, that only lasts for 5 real-world days. Yeah, your Furfrou will lose it after 120 hours in the real world. It's just like real dog grooming and maintenance. It's just constant work you gotta keep doing. You're like Sisyphus, only buried in dog fur. And if you want a living Dex, for the uninitiated, a living dex is when you have every Pokemon and every Pokemon variant in your boxes. But you can't with Furfrou. It doesn't even wait to remove its trim when you put it in a box. It'll go away once the timer strikes 120 hours. It's like when you get home from a long day at work and as soon as the front door closes behind you, yeet goes the bra! I'm sure we all relate. It wasn't until Furfrou was added to Pokemon Go that you could have all the different trims put into Pokemon Home, but it also only allows you to catch certain ones in certain areas across the globe. Like the Kabuki cut is only catchable in Japan, the Debutane cut is only in the Americas, etc. So have fun trading or cheating to get them all. But hang on, wait, does that mean there are just people going around grooming wild Furfrou? But hey, since the trims are just about the only interesting thing about this dog, let's talk about them. Why do they look the way they do? And called what they are. This video is suddenly now Every Furfrou Form Explained. This is it, right here. An all-natural, generic, untrimmed, bushy poodle to the max. Well, except for the face. That is clearly still a trimmed poodle face. But having that trimmed, darker face combined with the fluffy fur on the rest of its body does make it look very frou-frou, which is a kind of slangy term for someone or something that is overly fancy or elaborate. Hence the name Furfrou. It's very frou-frou with its fur. Plus, I've met at least 3 poodles or labradoodles named Frou-Frou in my life. It's like Spot or Fido, but for poodles. Its Japanese name is fun too, Trimian. It combines trimming, chien, which is French for dog, and it all comes together to make the French phrase très bien, meaning excellent. So, an excellently trimmed dog. Definitely a less derogatory way of calling a dog frou-frou. But speaking of dogs that aren't poodles, Furfrou isn't just a poodle, or at least normal form isn't. It also shares a lot of elements with the Afghan Hound, which the American Kennel Club describes as among the most eye-catching breed of all, described as an aloof and dignified aristocrat of sublime beauty. The long, silky, and straight fur of the Afghan Hound is very fitting of the kinda spiky ends of normal Furfrou's fur, especially the head and ears. Not to mention, Afghan Hounds often have a darker face compared to the rest of their body and head, especially if their fur is particularly light-colored. When you imagine the stereotypical winner of a dog show in media, if it's not a poodle, it's probably the Afghan Hound. And this normal form of Furfrou is of course available globally in Pokemon Go. Same with the Matron trim, which, given who owns it in the anime, makes a pretty clear case about what it's based on. Matron has a few definitions, but the fitting one is a woman who is in charge of arrangements in places like boarding schools, nursing homes, or even the children of nobles. Sort of like a stand-in professional mother, though in the game's original Japanese, the trim is simply called Madam. So really it's just a distinguished fancy lady, hence the pink, the chest resembling a simplified apron, and the hair resembling curled hair and an old-fashioned women's bonnet. Dandy, or gentleman in Japan, is also available globally. It has an old-fashioned gentleman's top hat, though with a wider brim like a Panama hat, along with its more modern gentleman's tie and cufflinks. Is its tail supposed to be like the top of a straight cane? Well, mixing the styles this way certainly makes it look like a dandy, a man who emphasizes good looks, refined language, and leisurely hobbies. Part 2 is available globally, but only on Valentine's Day. This trim is definitely heavily inspired by the Continental cut, aka the Lion cut, but with a lovey-dovey heart motif thrown on for good measure, which is why in Pokemon Go this coat is restricted to being available only on Valentine's Day. And Diamond is just about the same, only orange diamonds instead of pink hearts, though the closest common trim to this is the Saddle cut. And interestingly, this trim is only available in the old Western world, so Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. Could this relate to the extreme wealth of the area? Though not real wealth in Africa's case, sadly. Rather, that's just where most of the diamonds and gemstones and wealth is located, but then it's taken. The star trim is possibly inspired by the Moton clip, which is the most common trim I've seen personally. It's only available in the Asia-Pacific region, and I'm not confident about why. It could be inspired by the pop star idols of Japan and South Korea. It could be a reference to Bindies? Maybe? Though I doubt that. It could very well be that It, Diamond, and Heart are just fancy shapes slapped onto common poodle trims. Notably, these three are the only three that showcase the true curliness of poodle fur the most, to the point where the sitting cutie plushes are annoying to touch. It's just falling apart. It's shedding. Now Debutane, which somewhat resembles the poodle's Dutch cut, is only in the Americas, which leads me to believe it has some Southern Belle elements. The curly blonde hair, an oversized sun hat with a bow, and big scarves as they visit the Kentucky Derby. Notably, a debutane is defined as a young upper-class woman making her first appearance in fashionable society. So a fancy young lady just coming of age. That explains the trim's name in other languages basically just being lady. I'm not sure why English had to get all frou-frou with it. The kabuki cut feels like an Asian fusion bob cut, and it's only available in Japan, which I'm pretty sure you can figure out why that is. Kabuki is an iconically Japanese style of classical theater. Many kabuki actors would not only have the face paint or masks, but oversized wigs as well, and that's what this trim resembles. Even its colors are the most iconically kabuki colors, and its tail is even shaped like the fans commonly used as props in kabuki. So go ahead and take a wild guess where the pharaoh trim is exclusive to. Go on. Take all the time you need. That's right, it's Chad! No, yeah, it's Egypt. It resembles the typical pharaoh headdress with an uraeus, and the chest is trimmed to resemble the pharaoh's goatee, and its tail could either be a khopesh or a pharaoh's crook. Now, you might think blue is an odd choice for a pharaoh, but that is actually kind of perfect for it, and I love that. Lapis lazuli was extremely popular in ancient Egypt, both as jewelry to wear and as material for decorating figurines depicting the pharaoh. The France-exclusive cut Lorraine is the only one I had no idea about the origins of before starting this video. I mean, the name is just a bunch of letters I've never seen together like that, but it turns out that's just French for queen. But specifically, it could refer to Margaret of Valois, who was nicknamed Lorraine Margot. She was a French queen who was also the first woman to write a memoir, and she developed a lot of the fashion trends that would spread across European nobility for centuries. Her hairline was a choice, but more notable are the wide and open neck ruffles and the way the sleeves are striped and poofed out like this. I could see that translating to the ears of this dog, and the blue blob on front is akin to her queenly diadems and crowns, often doing the same. Notably, blue and maroon were her favorite colors too, and this would also make this trim seen as the feminine counterpart to the pharaoh trim. You've got the king and the queen, both blue, and the legs of this trim resemble poodles with the bell-bottom clip. So I guess ultimately Furfrou is a pretty decent anime dog. There is thought put into its design. I have seen people not like it because its muzzle and nose are too cartoony though. And actually, I can see that, but I think that dislike because of that may have been intentional. It is a high-fashion French dog. Can it possibly be any snootier? Nose up, full of itself. Making its nose long and thin like this only further emphasizes that aspect of it. It's the kind of personality that you're like, supposed to hate, you know? Like, even poodles' more common health problems are snooty. Like, typically unhealthy dogs are just gross. Hey, my eyeballs pop out when I sneeze. I develop lesions for no reason. I can't breathe half the time. My lifespan is cut in half, and 2 of my leg bones are backwards. Walking hurts almost as much as laying down. Please kill me. But with poodles, it's all, oh, wee, I've got Cushing's disease, or Addison's disease, oh, mon ami, and my high intelligence means I so much more easily fall into a depression. So yes, even in dogs, ignorance is bliss. Hence golden retrievers being the happiest little guys. But hey, want to learn more facts about dog Pokemon? How about why Scarlet and Violet introduced the most dogs? The Butcher, the Baker, and the Candlestick Maker. Check out this video next, and never stop using your noggin.